introduce your new friend to us this week.
Awesome. So I hope you guys are doing good. Today is May the 4th, which is one of my favorite days of the year. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, as you can see by my shirt and some of the things that are behind me. Um, but in celebration of May the 4th, I brought along today my bearded dragon, and his name is Jabba, just like Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars. Now, Jabba, I'm going to tell you guys a few things about Jabba, and then we're going to talk about bearded dragons in general. So, Jabba was my first rescue. He's the oldest rescue I have here. And I got him about 2 years ago. He's about 3 years old. He was returned to PetSmart because his owners that originally bought him said he was aggressive and mean to his other bearded dragons, but I have never, ever had an issue with him. He is super sweet. He'll let me do whatever I want to him. He'll let me hold him up, say hi. He can wave. He'll let me do anything. He is super, super chill, and he's very, very lazy. Now, with all of the corona stuff going on right now, I've been home a lot. So he's gotten to get out of his habitat and run around the apartment and have free time in the apartment. But every single time I let him out, he'll go around, he'll investigate, he'll see some of the other animals, he'll go talk to the turtle or the guinea pigs or some of the different animals. And then I'll always find him laying flat in a corner asleep. It never fails. He always finds a corner and goes to sleep after about 15 minutes. He doesn't like being out very much, but he is very calm. I bring him to Vienna a lot and bring him to school.
Uh-oh.
Good for him that are actually a pet diet. Um, he also he's an omnivore, which means that he eats both meat and vegetables. So he also gets crickets, and he loves to eat crickets, and he gets roaches as well. He gets dubia roaches, which are really, really creepy crawly, but he loves to eat them, and he's really good at eating them. He'll hunt them down and snack on them really, really well. Now, bearded dragons usually live around 20 to 30 years. They can live a long life. He's only about 3 years old, so he's pretty young. This is about as big as he will get. There are some other species of bearded dragon who are much bigger. They're called Goliath bearded dragons, and they get much, much larger as they get older. But he's just a average bearded dragon, and he'll get about this size. Now, there's 5 color variations that come in nature. There's the tan one, like Jabba. There is a black color variation, a brown color variation, an orange color variation, and a more yellow, brighter yellow color variation as well. Jabba is mostly found in the desert. Bearded dragons are mostly found in the wild in Australia, but they live in many different parts of Australia. So the brown and the black kinds are mostly found in the woods and found in the forests of Australia, whereas the tan, red, and yellow ones are found more in the desert areas and more in the plains of Australia. But in the wild, they love to come out. They are diurnal, so they stay out during the day and then they sleep at night. Here at my apartment, he sleeps very, very well at night. If I turn the kitchen light on and it wakes him up, he gives me a glare and he'll look at me like, "What are you doing? Why are you bothering me?" He's a very grumpy old man when he's sleeping. But I'm going to take you real quick and show you guys his enclosure here at the apartment. He has a very, very cool enclosure. So hold on tight. You too, Jabba. So here at the apartment, he actually has my washer dryer closet all to himself. So over here, I have changed it into being his habitat. So he actually has a sandbox for him to dig. Bearded dragons cannot see water if it's standing still. So he actually has a waterfall that helps him see the water as it's moving. He also has 2 heat lamps. He has a daytime heat lamp that's very hot. I'm not going to touch it. And a nighttime heat lamp. And those are on a timer so that they change at night. Now, over here, we'll meet her later, but this is Quasi. It's my other bearded dragon. But that's a little bit about bearded dragons. Now, if it's all right with Ashley, I'd like to open it up to questions so that we can get any questions that you guys have about Jabba or bearded dragons, because I just briefly touched on them.
All right, so I'm going to start at Morgan Elementary. If you guys have any questions, okay, I'm going to unmute it. So my friends at Morgan, do you guys have any questions?
Raise your hands if you do. Brayden, do you have one? Yeah, go ahead. Here, speak over here. Okay.
Why does he have those bumps on his back?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I was hoping someone would ask that. So his skin, his scales are very, very bumpy, as you can see. And he also has these, oh, where are you going? He also has these spikes on his side as well. Now that helps him camouflage in the wild. Now you normally hear about camouflage when we talk about color, right? When we talk about, sorry, give me just a second. When we talk about what colors an animal is, it's usually how we talk about camouflage. But animals can also camouflage with their texture. So his back feels just like rough sand. It feels just like sand. And what they'll do is in the desert, they'll flatten themselves out really, really flat, and they'll bury their bodies right underneath the sand. And then when a predator comes by, they can't see them because they look like the sand. And even if they step on them, it feels like the sand, and they won't know they're there. Now, up here, the reason they're called bearded dragons is because they have this beard right here, this really, really loose skin right here. He doesn't mind me messing with it. But if they're angry, what they'll do is their whole bearded area will turn dark black, and then they'll poof it up really big. And they'll fill it with air to make themselves look scary and big. So that was a really good question.
So let me go back to Morgan. Morgan, do we have any more questions?
It could be anything. About the lizard. I don't think so.
Okay, that's okay. That was a really good question from Morgan. Okay, next I'm going to go over to, hold on, let me figure this out. I'm going to go over to Piney Grove. Does anybody from Piney Grove have any questions?
In with the lizards in your laundry and dry room, the wall between them, does the lizards go through the wall to each other's homes? Like, can they?
So, it's hard plastic walling that I built for it. They don't have any holes to where they can get through. My other bearded dragon is really, really young and a lot smaller. So I'm afraid that if they get together, they can be very territorial, and I'm afraid that Jabba might hurt it. And my other bearded dragon's a lot grumpier and meaner. So I don't want to cause any stress for them. Every now and then I'll come in there and Jabba will be scratching, trying to get through the wall because he knows there's something else over there. But they've never gotten across that wall. I have introduced them before, and they seem pretty good with each other, but I've never left them when I'm not watching them.
Any more questions from Piney Grove? Got a couple more?
Right there. Go to the computer. Go to the computer. Go to the, hold in. Go to the computer. The computer. Right there. Yeah. The computer. Look, bend down right here. Look, bend down right there. So they can see you. Bend down.
See it?
Bend down. Yep,
And
go ahead.
there you are.
All right, ask your question.
So why do they really have like their eyes like so dark? Because you can't really see them.
Why are their eyes so dark? So his eyes are actually really cool looking, but I don't think with the camera you can really see them. Well, there you go. You can see them. They're really cool looking. They're kind of like our eyes. They can be different colors around the iris, but the middle is very dark. Now they have their eyes on the sides of their head because that allows them to see stuff above coming in. It also allows them to see stuff in front of them, but they have this blind spot right up here. Now, bearded dragons have something really cool called a third eye. A lot of reptiles have this, and it's right here. Now, it's not really an eye, but they can sense heat with it. So if a bird is coming up or another predator is coming from above, they can sense that heat, and they can also find hot sunlight spots with that spot on the top of their head. He's going to go hide now.
Any more questions? I got a couple more at Piney Grove.
You can see his tail. Go to the computer.
Hey, Brinley.
Okay.
Right there. Go ahead, Brinley.
What's your question, Brinley?
Why does the lizard has a big mouth?
Why does he have a big mouth? That's a really good question. So in the wild, they can, what are you doing, sir? Sorry, he just jumped down my back. In the wild, they can eat many different things. They sometimes eat other lizards. They eat mice. They eat small mammals like little field mice and all. They can eat all kinds of things. So that big mouth, he has really, really tiny row of sharp teeth that he's able to chomp on things and chew up things. So that mouth allows them to fit large things in there.
Good question. All right, I'm going to get one more question from Piney Grove.
Can they tell a difference from the sun's heat and the heat from the bird?
Yes, they can. So the bird doesn't put off as much heat as the sun. The sun's rays are very warm. Now, they mostly use that third eye, not so much to see predators. They use it a little bit, but they mostly use it to sense the sun because since they're cold-blooded, they need to find warm spots to be able to heat their body up, like we talked about with the snakes. They need to find warm spots to lay out and bask under. Now, here at the apartment, he gets under his heat lamp and he'll completely what we call pancake his body. He'll get it down to where it's only about that wide and he'll get it perfectly flat so that he has a lot of surface area on his back to be able to soak up the sun's rays. And
All right, thank you, Piney Grove. We're going to move over to our friends at Brunson, and we're going to go to our friends that are in the gym first. So my friends at Brunson that are in the gym, you guys got a lot of questions.
If a black bearded dragon was trying to tell you something and their beard poofs up, what color would that be?
that is a very good question that I actually don't know. I'm not sure. That's a really good question. You'll have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll have to look that one up. That's a really cool question. Okay, back to Brunson that are in the gym. Next question.
Can he bite people?
He can bite. So what I like to tell people, my students at Vienna, if any of you are from Vienna, you've probably heard me tell you this. Anything that has a mouth can bite you. I can bite you, Miss Ashley can bite you. You can bite me. anything with a mouth can bite. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to bite. He has never bit me or never attempted to bite me at all. My other bearded dragon has some special circumstances, and we'll talk about that next week. But he's tried to bite me before. But any animal with a mouth can bite. It's just whether they will or not.
If they want to.
If they want to, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, back to Brenson. Next question.
How do they communicate?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Good question.
So he can change his color a little bit. So if he is feeling threatened or worried, he can get darker. But in the wild, they don't communicate that much because they're mostly solitary. They don't live in groups like some other animals. They live mostly by themselves. So they don't have like a call or a language or anything.
Okay. And I also wanted to say that I used to have a class pet that was a bearded dragon, and her name was Lucy.
Oh, cool. Did you hear that, Tyler?
I did not.
She had a class pet before that was a bearded dragon, and its name was Lucy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
That's awesome. They're really good pets.
Yeah, and she kept eating cricket.
Yeah.
A mealtime 4 times a day.
Yeah. She said that it ate crickets and it ate about 4 times a day.
Wow. He can eat a lot. He'll eat tons. But I keep him on a very strict diet because I don't want him to get too big and too overweight.
All right, next question at Brunson in the gym.
Does it hurt when somebody steps on him?
She said, does it hurt when somebody steps on them?
It will still hurt him, but it's better than getting eaten. So they have that defense to where they feel like sand just to defend themselves so that they don't get eaten, because it's much better to get stepped on than to get eaten.
Yeah. Good question. Okay, one more from Brunson in the gym. Can you say that loud one more time?
Do they have sharp claws?
Do they have sharp claws?
Yes. So he has very sharp claws. I don't know if you can see them, but he has 5 toes, and on each toe is a very sharp claw that he can use to dig and grab in. Now, something that I haven't told you guys is Jabba, we keep saying, is a he, but Jabba's actually a girl. So when reptiles are really young, they're really hard to figure out if they're a boy or a girl. It's really hard to tell. But we know Jabba's a girl because Jabba lays eggs. And she's laid a couple eggs for us, a couple hatches. And each time she lays eggs, she lays about 25 eggs at a time. And what she'll do is she'll go in that sandbox I showed you, and she'll dig and dig and dig a nest, lay the eggs, and then cover them back up. So she uses those sharp claws to dig. She also uses them to hold on to me when she's on my shirt.
All right, we're gonna now move on to our friends at Brunson that are in the classroom. So if anybody, let me see. You guys got a lot of questions. Let me unmute you real quick. All right, so my friends at Brunson in the classroom, what is your first question?
Good, Natalie. You had let Natalie ask. She's had her arm up forever. Ask.
How do they use those tails at the wild?
Can you repeat that one more time for me really loud?
How do they use the tails at the wild?
The tail?
Hmm?
How do they use their tail in the wild?
Oh, good question.
That's really good. So they use their tail to help them balance. So right now he's using his tail. He's sticking it out to help him balance on my shoulder. So in the wild, they'll climb up on rocks and up in short trees. They don't climb very high into trees, but they'll use their tail to balance and help them keep from falling over. So that's a really good question.
All right, next question at Brunson in the classroom.
Nathan.
How long can she get?
How long can she get?
So most bearded dragons get about 2 feet at their longest, but sometimes they can get up to 3 feet long. But most of them stay around 2 feet long. She's about 2 feet long right now, from tip of her tail to the tip of her nose.
Next question at Brunson.
Zoe.
If they were older or different species of bearded dragons, so they have longer tails?
So if they were a different type of species of bearded dragon, would they have longer tails?
So the Goliath bearded dragons, they're not technically a different species, but from people breeding them for pets, they've created this other type of bearded dragon that's bigger. And they mostly have a bigger body, but they're about the same length. So they're just bulkier and bigger and fatter.
Cool. All right, next question at Brunson in the classroom. Any more questions?
No.
No? All right. So for all of my friends at Brunson, Morgan, and I guess you're not at Piney Grove anymore, you're at Kernersville Elementary. If you guys think of any more questions, make sure you send them to Miss Shelby, okay? And then we can answer them next week, okay? And I'm going to unmute everybody so we can tell Tyler thank you. I'll tell you when. I'll count it down, okay?
Thank you.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You guys are so welcome. Jabba says bye.
Say wave bye to Jabba, guys. All right, bye, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.